I'm just gonna do my vlog thingy.
Okay, I'll just dance seductively in the background
Okay.
to boost your viewership.
Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and this is the start of a new weekend reading vlog. It's Thursday. I realize that's not usually what most people consider the weekend. However, I feel like mine kind of starts on Thursday because I now work from home on Thursdays and Fridays. And if I don't have to leave the house on Thursday and Friday, even if I'm working, it feels like the weekend. So I'm starting this now. It is just past 4:30, which means I'm done with work for the day, and I have some plans. I've got some plans for this weekend and also for this week coming up. I am meant to be doing NaNoWriMo. I'm kind of failing at NaNoWriMo. I am hopefully going to next week catch up. I'll talk about that later, but I've only written about 6,000 words, which is great, but it is, what, the 7th of November, and I'm meant to be on like 10,000 words right now. So that's not really happened, but I'm honestly not really letting it bother me because I am interested in the project that I'm doing. So this was kind of meant to be a NaNoWriMo vlog. I'll see if I nano at all. I'll see if I write at all. I've just been absolutely terrible. And it's funny because Scottish husband has been away this week, so I've been by myself. I've had no distractions, but all I've done is knit and watch Star Trek. So not so great on the writing front. But in very exciting news, I am actually going to be off of work next week. I booked the entire week off because I had 5 days of holiday time, and I don't really like to carry it over into the next year, which you can do. I just like to take all of my holiday within the year. So I had 5 days, and so I just booked a random weekend in November off. So I'm going to be home all of next week. I might be going to my parents' house. I don't know what the plan is at this point, but I'm really excited. And I'm going to be doing a ton of writing then. I'm actually meeting with my friend Judith from Dead Good Book Reviews, who is doing Nano and is smashing it. I'm super jealous. She's always really good at like being dedicated to her projects, and I am not. So we're going to meet up and write together on Monday, I believe. And otherwise, it's going to be a full-on week of reading as well. And I've been doing pretty good. I've been doing a good job of kind of keeping up with my reading and trying to get through some of these review copies and whatnot, but I feel like a maybe mini readathon just for myself is kind of in order. So I have a little stack of books here. These are all the things I want to read next week, which I'll show you in just a minute, but I am doing some other reading right now, and I realize I haven't grabbed that book, so I'm going to go do that now. So I am currently reading The Sky Weaver by Kristen Cicerelli. It was hiding in the duvet. I've been reading it in bed. And this is the last book in the Last Namsara series, the trilogy. And I have a really funny relationship with this trilogy because I liked the first book. I think I gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was really fun. I didn't like the romance because I'm super picky about romance, especially in YA. But I really liked the world. I liked her writing. I liked the mythology, the dragons, everything. And dragons are kind of a hard sell for me, and I feel like that's becoming less and less true as people actually do interesting stuff with dragons now. But the fact that I liked the dragons in that book said a lot to me. So I liked the first one. I hated the second one. I actually DNF'd it, which is such a shame because the main character, Roa, I couldn't remember her name in my November TBR video, and I just kind of ranted a little bit about how much I hated that book and I hated her. Such a shame. She should have been such a cool character, but she's one of those who, for me, was a lot like Audrey Rose, whatever her name is, in Stalking Jack the Ripper, where the author tells us that she's super amazing and she's super good at all this stuff, and then the character just never does any of that, and it drives me absolutely insane. Because if you want capable, awesome, strong female characters, you have to actually show that they are capable, strong, awesome female characters. And also, like, 90% of that book's plot could have been resolved with a 5-minute conversation between the two characters. And to me, if that's the case in your book, your plot sucks. So I am very hyper aware of all of this as I'm trying to write my own book. This is one of the reasons that I'm doing that, because I feel like I criticize other people's books having never written anything. But that's beside the point. The Sky Weaver, I'm loving. I'm really, really enjoying this. I am currently 228 pages in, just over halfway, and this is a YA fantasy book. Features a romance between two women. one of which is a pirate, and they've got lots of knives. And it's pretty awesome. I'm really, really enjoying this. And the funny thing is, and I realize this is kind of a double standard, if one of these characters was male, I don't think I would like the romance as much, with the way that they kind of like, because they're basically, they're enemies. It's an enemies to lovers romance, which I think is hard to pull off. And some of their interactions, I think, if it was a male character, I would be like, absolutely not, no, what are you doing? But because they're both women, maybe I'm just biased, I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm hoping to finish this actually tonight. It's flying by. I'm going to curl up in bed with the hot water bottle and just finish this book today. That's the plan. And then I have some other things that I would like to read kind of this weekend and next week. The main one being Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri. I've shrieked about this book a lot. This is one of my most highly anticipated books of 2019. What year is it? So that's going to be great. I'm going to read that next. And then I've also got The Infinite Noise by Laura Shippen, which I am hearing some things about now. I had never heard of this before when it showed up on my doorstep unsolicited. Sophia's on her scratching post. Please ignore the horrible sound. But I'm now hearing some things about this book and it sounds really fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I also have a book that is not on my November TBR. That is The Pursuit of William Abbey, another unsolicited book. This is by Claire North and comes from Orbit. And this looks awesome. It's a sort of 19th century historical fiction / fantasy book, which sounds great, and I've never read anything by her before. So that showed up in October. I'm trying to not stack books on Dax because she's asleep right there and she's gonna be mad at me if I do. The last book that I have, Girls of Paper and Fire, I started this when I was still in my kind of YA fantasy slump. I made it to page 42. It's really bad of me. I was really enjoying it, but I just like, it was just before, if you've seen my October wrap-up, which should be up by now, it was just before that like YA crime streak hit and I read like 5 YA crime books in a row. So clearly I was not in the right mood for this, but I actually won a arc of the next book, which comes out I think today as of the time that I'm filming this. So I really want to because I was really enjoying it, and I think that I'm now in a better mindset to read YA fantasy because I've not been there for so long. But I recently read and enjoyed The Guinevere Deception, and that was really fun. So I've got high hopes for this. So those are the kind of books that I'm hoping to read over the next week, which should be really good. I'm hoping to take this week to do a lot of things like catching up with videos, filming a ton of stuff, book reviews. You know, I realized that I've never done like a video of my favorite fantasy books, which seems like a huge oversight on my part. I've never done a ton of things like how I'm gonna tackle my TBR. I'm gonna save my bookshelf tour for early 2020 because at the end of 2019 I'm gonna do a huge unhaul. Yeah, I've got a ton of stuff that I want to film and just haven't had the time because I do work full-time and I want to occasionally see my husband. So I'm going to use this week off to try to catch up on that, and it's going to be really good. It's going to be a really, really good time, but I'm going to be really busy between writing, reading, and editing. So we'll see how this goes. I will catch up with you guys later after hopefully I have read some more of The Skyweaver if I haven't finished it. And yeah, so we'll see how this is. I'm hoping that this evening will be very productive, and I will check in later. So it is Friday evening. We're done with work for a week, which I'm super excited for, which means that I can now officially start on this mini readathon that I'm going to be doing for myself over the course of the next week. So to start things off, I am still working on The Skyweaver, and I'm on page 300 of 391. So I'm getting really close to the end of this, and I'm definitely going to finish this. So after this, I've got now 5 books to read over the course of the next week, and the reason it's gone from 4 to 5 is because my copy of The Starless Seas by Erin Morgenstern came in today. I ordered the Waterstones exclusive edition, and thank God, because the regular edition for the UK is absolutely hideous. It's ridiculous. I don't know what they were thinking. If they removed like 2 elements from the cover, it would be a lot better, but it's so like busy and awful. I'll link it down below so you can go ahead and take a look. But this is absolutely lovely. It's got stenciled edges. It's got lovely end papers, and this is my favorite part. It's got this lovely cover underneath. So I am hoping to read this as well this week. I'd like to go ahead and get it in soon because I have a feeling this is one that's going to be heavily discussed and possibly spoiled for me. I know nothing about this book except sort of similar to the 10,000 Doors of January. It also is a book for book lovers, and it's a fantasy book, and Erin Morgenstern wrote The Night Circus. I was going to say The Ninth House for a second. She wrote The Night Circus, which is a hugely popular book. I've got my copy way up there. I read it back in, I think, 2011 or so when it came out. I've got my old hardcover edition. And I really enjoyed it. I hated the ending because I didn't feel like it suited the book, but otherwise I really enjoyed it. It's not like my favorite book in the world or anything, as it is for a lot of people, and I'm actually thinking about rereading it. I got the audiobook in an Audible sale for like $2.99, so I'm probably going to reread it at some point because it's been quite a long time since I've read it. But this book I'm excited for, sort of independently of the excitement for The Night Circus. This just sounds really awesome, and it's a pretty book, and you know that I am a cover magpie. I cannot resist a lovely book. So I've got this in addition to my 4 others that I'm hopefully gonna be reading this week if they don't fall over and kill me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get cracking on the Skyweaver and hopefully be able to make a dent in this stack, because I would really love to read some new releases, some arcs, things like that this month, and it's November. The end of the year is coming up, so I want to make sure that I read through as many of my arcs as possible to get through into the new year, because I want to be much better about my arcs next year. I'm gonna do a reading goals video thing in December, closer to the end of the year. But until then, I will check in with you when I finish the Skyweaver. So updates. It's like 9:30 on Friday. I've finished the Skyweaver. I'm probably gonna give this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I did not expect that. I did not expect to enjoy this as much as I did, given my feelings on the previous books, but I'm really glad that I gave this another chance. I really liked the 2 main characters. I really enjoyed the romance, although I think I already said that if one of them was male, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. I don't know what that says about me, but this was really good fun, so I'm really happy I read this. My glasses are fogging up because I just got out of the tub, so sorry. And I picked up The Infinite Noise by Laura Shippen next, and I read about 50 pages. And I cannot get into this book. So this is the one that sounded kind of like it had like flavors of X-Men in it, and it's about a boy who finds out that he's something called atypical, and he's basically an empath. He feels other people's emotions. So imagine being an empath in high school. That would absolutely suck. So he kind of like forms this friendship slash probably relationship with this other boy named Adam who has lots of feelings. He feels in a big way. And I read about 50 pages. Within the first about 20 pages, he not only finds out that he's atypical, he accepts that he's atypical, and his family knows that he's atypical. And there's no like, the thing to me that makes stuff like this interesting is the whole conflict about how this changes your life, how you're going to be able to interact with other people. Do you keep your secret? Do you not keep your secret? What you're gonna do? And there's none of that, as far as I can tell. And they seem more concerned with things like math tests and, you know, reading their assigned homework and stuff like that. And it feels much more like a contemporary YA book about these 2 boys with like a very light sci-fi kind of flair to it than it does something that I'm interested in. So I think this one's not going to be for me. I'm checking with various friends to see if anyone has read this book. So far no one has responded, because I wanted to see if it picks up a little bit, because if it does, it might be nice to read, but if it stays that kind of like level of contemporary YA without much sort of sci-fi or fantasy elements, I'm probably not going to enjoy this one. So I'm about 50 pages in. I'm going to set this aside for now, possibly permanently. We'll see what other people say, if it picks up or not, but this was kind of a miss for me. So now I have 4 books on the stack, and the next book that I am going to read is Realm of Ash. I'm so happy about this. I think I'm only like 20 pages in or so, because I've been reading it a little bit kind of in between reading the Skyweaver, because I have to have a review posted for the Skyweaver by Tuesday. So I finished that now. I'm in the process of writing my review, and now I can dedicate some time to this, which comes out on Thursday. So I'm gonna have to actually like put my head down and kind of, you know, read through this book fairly quickly, because I'd love to have something up for release day, because I love this author and I really want to support these books. I want more people to read these books. So I don't know if that's gonna happen or not, just knowing that the first book was a much more slow-paced book for me. It took me about a month to read, actually, which I was very surprised by. So I don't know what's gonna happen with this one. We'll see, but I'm very, very excited to start it in earnest now. It is Monday morning-ish. I think it's like 11 or something like that. And I didn't really vlog much over the weekend, for no real particular reason other than I forgot. It's hard to like fall back into reading vlogs, but I have been doing some reading. So, sorry, hold on one second. I am about 120 some odd pages into Realm of Ash, which I'm really, really enjoying. I am really loving this world, and it's kind of already sort of zipping along pretty quickly, which is nice. Oh, hello. I've got a little friend here who's coming to join me. The cats, I think you can see Sophia there. The cats have been loving the fact that I'm home, and we're hanging out a lot, quite a lot. So Dax and I are gonna hang out here. But I am really enjoying Realm of Ash. I just really love her world. I love her world building. I really like Arwa as a character. She's another really sort of internally strong kind of character, and she's got a lot of rage and a lot of anger, and it's really interesting because, as we see in the first book, the Emrithi people are sort of persecuted within this world, and of course Mare, her sister from the first book, and Arwa both have Emrithi blood, and this is a big point of contention for them, and Arwa has been kind of trying to hide it her whole life, whereas Mare has been embracing it. So Arwa's in a really interesting position of being a kind of a person who is in a position to be oppressed, but really sort of almost agrees with that kind of oppression. She agrees that the Emrithi people are kind of barbaric, and the magic that they use and everything is wrong. So that's really interesting. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's fantastic. Tasha Suri is an amazing author. So also in the post, I got my pre-order of The Killing Light on Saturday. This is the 3rd book in the Sacred Throne series of novellas. So I've got Queen of Crows and The Killing Light here. They're both quite short, but I find that they take a little while to read because they're a little bit denser, and they're rough going. They're definitely grim. So I'm definitely going to get to those soon. I would really like to have that series finished up. And yeah, we'll see how this day of reading goes with my friend here. I am hopefully going to be going to see my amazing friend Judith later this afternoon, but honestly I'm feeling kind of shit. Scottish husband is sick, and therefore I am sick. I fortunately have, you know, this week off, as I've said, so it's not a huge deal, but I'm not feeling my best. So we'll see how the day goes. I'm gonna get some rest, I'm gonna read some books, and hopefully I'll feel better later on. Right, Dax? Yes. So Dax keeps crying and shaking her little fishing pole toy outside of the room because Scottish husband is working, and I am like writing reviews and stuff, and she's really upset that no one's paying attention to her. So she keeps shaking the little bell and making horrible noises so that we play with her. So I'm gonna have to take a break and play with her. Oh, we're terrible, aren't we? I'm so sorry, we're ignoring you. It's Tuesday at 10:30 at night, and I'm in my Snuggie because it's really, really cold. I'm having one of those days where I seriously regret leaving Los Angeles because Los Angeles is warm. England is not warm. And I'm like getting to that, oh yeah, winter kind of sucks thing that I always have every year. So I've been moaning and complaining all night. I've been bundled up with a hot water bottle, being super annoying to anyone and everyone who will listen. I'm kind of a nightmare. I should probably go to sleep. Today has been really, really productive. I didn't read a lot, but I did record 2 videos. I just really like doing this. I did record 2 videos, one of which is up now, which is my review of The Guinevere Deception, which is a book I really enjoyed. And I also, by the time this goes up, this next video should be up. So I did a list of my all-time favorite adult fantasy books, which is a video I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I realized at some point that I've never really talked about my favorite fantasy books or my favorite sci-fi books or anything like that on this channel. And this channel's been going for a little while. So that seemed like kind of an oversight on my part. So I've got my favorite fantasy books uploading to YouTube right now. And that should be up on Friday, which I'm really happy about. But yeah, I'm gonna do hopefully some more videos and stuff tomorrow. I'm trying to use this holiday as productive time to do all of these projects like my channel and book reviews and things like that. So speaking of being productive, I have been reading Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri, and it did come out in the US today, so happy book birthday. This comes out on Thursday in the UK, and I am on page 292. So I read, I think, to 270 yesterday, so I've read a little bit today, but not that much. I'm still hoping to have this done for tomorrow, so I'll probably need to do a little bit less video stuff and more reading tomorrow, although I did actually just kind of lounge in bed until 10:30, 11 today, so if I spent some of that time actually reading, I'd be in a much better position. So I am off to bed. I am going to read a little bit more, complain a little bit more about how cold I am, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, I guess. I just it's so fucking cold right now and I'm so miserable. It's only gonna get colder. That's the thing. It's 7 degrees Celsius right now. And last winter was quite cold, I think. It was down to under 5. So yeah, we got a long way to go. I hate the cold so much, and I forget how much I hate the cold until it gets cold. Well, I was gonna go ahead and get my book and get my hot water bottle and snuggle up in the reading chair, but we got others currently occupying it, which is super annoying because I can't move them because they look so cute and happy. So I'm gonna have to read somewhere else. Kind of sucks. So it is Wednesday evening, it's 4:30 or so, and it is Staycation day 3. And it's been a really good day so far. I went ahead and finished Realm of Ash, which was amazing, unsurprisingly. I absolutely loved it. It's just such a fantastic book. It was just so good, and I just sort of wept for half an hour afterwards, desperately clutching the cats. So I'm really happy that I went ahead and finished that. I really loved it. So now I'm currently trying to work on a review. Well, when I'm not in bed, I'm trying to work on a review, and that's not really happening at the moment because I just keep going. So I'm gonna give it a rest for a little bit, and I'm already breaking my TBR. I am feeling really inspired to read ahead and start reading stuff that's not quite out yet. So I'm delaying some of the things that I have on the TBR that I showed you earlier, and I am starting Song of the Crimson Flower by Julie C. Dow, which is currently out in the US, but it comes out on the 1st of December here in the UK. So I want to go ahead and get this read. I love her books so much. I absolutely love Forest of a Thousand Lanterns, and I really loved Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix as well. I don't know a huge amount about this one so far, intentionally, because I kind of want to go into it knowing as little as possible, as per usual. I did see someone the other day, maybe it's a couple weeks ago, like snarking about, you know, oh, it takes 30 seconds to go ahead and look up what a book is about. And I'm like, yes, but that's not what I want to do. So deal with it. So I'm going into this not knowing a huge amount. It does sound very fairy tale-esque. It does sound like it has a romance as the center of its plot, and I'm really excited for this. I think it's gonna be really good. She is such a good author, and she seems like such a good person as well, so I am super pumped to read this. Otherwise, I have my review of the Guinevere Deception, which went up yesterday, and then I have my list of my favorite fantasy books, which is going up on Friday, and I'm hoping to maybe go ahead and film some more videos tomorrow so that I can get ahead and do some stuff for next week and just sort of like alleviate some of the pressure of booktubing. So yeah, I think that's gonna be the plan for tomorrow when there's a little bit more light out, because it is 4:30, but of course daylight savings time has passed, so it's just pitch black outside. So I am going to read in bed for a bit. I would be reading in my lovely reading chair, but the cats have taken over it and I just don't have the heart to move them again. They're always sitting in that chair when I'm not sitting in that chair, and sometimes I move them because I'm heartless, and sometimes they can have it. So I am in bed, gonna hang out and read my book, and I am really excited for this. So I will check in with my thoughts soon. I totally forgot, I've gotten out of bed for this, so it's a big deal. I got some amazing book posts today. So I got 2 books from Tor Books. The lighting in here isn't particularly good, but I'm on my phone, so I guess that's not terribly surprising. So I got 2 books from Tor. I got Knight of the Silver Circle by Duncan M. Hamilton, and I have the first book hold on one second, just here, Dragon Slayer. And I got this in August, but I also got Blood of an Exile at the same time, and I didn't want to read the 2 of them close together because they're both about dragon slaying, and I didn't want to get confused. So I have that on my list of things to read, but I've got the sequel now and I'm really excited. I love these covers. They're so good. And this looks really, really great. So this comes out, I believe, on the 9th of December. So you'll be able to find it then. And I also got this, which sounds awesome. This is Fate of the Fallen by Kel Cade. This is the first book in a new series, and it says up top, "For men to rise, heroes must fall." And the way that this was kind of pitched really sold me on it. I mean, it sounds great anyway. The description inside is kind of vague, which I love, but it basically said in the kind of request email, what would have happened if Frodo had died and Sam would have had to carry on his own. And I was like, that sounds great. So I believe like the fated one, the hero of the book, dies and his kind of best friend sidekick has to take over. And it sounds amazing. It sounds so good. So I'm really excited to read both of those books. They both come out on the 9th of December next month, so you'll be able to pick them up soon. And they sound super good. So those are getting chucked on top of the TBR pile. Never-ending TBR pile, and I am hoping to get to them soon. I obviously need to read Dragon Slayer before I read the second one, but Fate of the Fallen I can just dive right into. So it is Thursday. It's Thursday evening. I'm completely thrown off because last night I stayed up and just blasted through Song of the Crimson Flower. I stayed up till 1:30 in the morning, which is well past my bedtime. I'm usually asleep by like 10:30 because I am an old lady. I am far too old to be doing this. But I did it, and I have many regrets. I was up and about for a little bit at like 8 this morning, and then by about 9, I fell asleep again and woke up at like 11:30. So I feel like my whole day is completely thrown off. But it was well worth it because I really enjoyed this book. It's very much, it very much has that kind of fairy tale feeling that her other books have, and it takes place in the same world as Forest of a Thousand Lanterns and Kingdom of the Blazing Phoenix. It's not like a continuation of that story, but you see some characters from those stories, and you see kind of the same areas that are like described and featured and everything. So it very much feels like a fairy tale. And it's very much meant to feel like a fairy tale. So I really, really, really enjoyed this. I just love her books. I find them so kind of wonderfully, in a funny way, comforting. even though, you know, Forest of a Thousand Lanterns is about a woman who eats people's hearts in order to retain her beauty, but still, like, there's something about them that feels like you're reading a kind of classic fairy tale from your childhood or something like that. So I really, really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good fun. And I am very fortunate to have received my copy of Queen of Nothing by Holly Black in the post today, about 5 days early. It comes out on the 19th, today is the 14th, and I've already gone ahead and started it. I was gonna do the whole read this in one sitting thing too, but like, I'm so tired. I can't do that again. So I've read 114 pages of this book. I am not really gonna say anything because the reason I'm reading it so early when I would normally maybe put it off to read some more arcs or something like that is because some asshole on Twitter is going to spoil this for me. And I don't want to be the asshole who spoils it for other people, so I'm not really going to say anything about this one. But I am enjoying it so far. I have thoughts, I have feelings, but I will not reveal what those thoughts and feelings are until probably at the end of the month when I do my wrap-up. That way people can actually like have a chance to have read it. And I won't be the jerk that I hate. I will not become the person that I hate. So yeah, I'm enjoying this. I might start something else. I don't know, I'm in kind of like that crazed reading mood. Apparently I can't speak today either. And I don't know what I would read, but I'm gonna read something. I might try to get ahead on maybe 2020 arcs and start reading those because I haven't read a single 2020 book yet. I might read some of the book post that I got recently. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So this is very exciting. My big worry is that I'm gonna overdose on YA fantasy kind of just when I'm getting the mojo back to read YA fantasy. So this month I've really only read YA fantasy with the, sorry, I'm checking my shelves. With the exception of Realm of Ash, I've only read YA fantasy this month. So yeah, that's kind of a lot, especially having not read any pretty much since the spring of this year. So I might go ahead and break it up with something else. I might read one of my Agatha Christie books that I showed off in my November TBR, or I might go ahead and read an arc from a different genre. I have a few 2020 books. I also have some stuff that came out earlier this year, or is coming out right around now that I haven't read yet. So I've got a lot to get to. And I'm kind of spoiled for choice. But until then, UK Drag Race is on probably in about half an hour or so. I haven't actually looked at a clock anytime recently, but we're gonna watch Drag Race and then I'll make a decision about what book I want to read next. So it is Saturday at about 11 o'clock at night, well past my normal bedtime, but ever since staying up to finish Song of the Crimson Flower, like well past my bedtime, I have completely thrown off my sleep schedule. So yeah, it's been a very exciting staycation. It's almost over, which makes me a little bit sad. But just to update you guys on what I've been up to, I did actually leave the flat yesterday, which is a big thing because I've not really done that over the course of this week, and I did return a book that I had to bring back to Waterstones, and when doing that I picked up two more, so I hit the buy one get one half price table because I have no self-control. I picked up a copy of Wakenhurst by Michelle Paver. My friend Jenny, who's like a real life friend rather than like a blogging friend, really loves her stuff. She loves dark matter, and she has told me how much she loves that book, and so I saw that this was on the buy one get one half price table. I decided to pick it up for myself, despite the fact that it was on my Christmas list for my family to get me. Hopefully this is the last thing that I'm going to buy from my own Christmas list, because that's a little bit sad. And then I also picked up a copy of The Toll by Neil Shusterman. This is the third book in the Scythe series. I haven't read the second one yet, but it's sat on my shelf just there actually. And it should be interesting because I thought Scythe was actually just okay. I really love the world, I love the concept. I actually really loved, I think it's what, Faraday and Curie, the two like mentors, but I hate the two main characters, and their romance is about as interesting as watching paint dry, and they have the personality of two wet paper towels. They're the most boring people on the planet. But I know that some of those problems do resolve in the second book. So I'm gonna take a chance, read that, and I'm going to get caught up on the series. I'm trying to make this big push to finish series now. I don't know if that's actually gonna happen or not. I also went ahead and picked up a couple of books from the library that I had on hold. So the first being Lock Every Door by Riley Sager. This was recommended by a booktuber. I can't remember which one. It might be Kate's Book Date, who reads thrillers and stuff. I read this recently and really enjoyed it. So I've got no idea what this is about, except it says, the hook, they've offered you a luxury apartment rent-free. The catch, you may not live long enough to enjoy it. Ooh, sounds really fun. I really love The Turn of the Key recently, which involves a nanny living in this smart house, really creepy smart house in the Scottish Highlands, and thought that was really great. This sounds kind of like a similar enough premise. I also picked up a copy of Ghoster by Jason Arnop. I have been seeing a couple of people reading this, including Rachel, I believe, from the Shades of Orange booktube channel, and it sounds really interesting. It sounds like it's a little bit maybe lighter on the horror elements, which is good because I'm scared of everything, but this sounds really interesting. This woman has been kind of dating this guy for a short period of time, I think only a couple of months, and they're ready to move in together, and she basically doesn't hear from him after that, so she's pissed off. She goes to his apartment and he's gone, everything in there is gone, so she has to figure out what happened to him. I think it might have some paranormal elements, but I'm not 100% sure, but is definitely like a psychological horror type novel, so this sounds really good as well. And in terms of what I've been reading, I actually have now just finished Queen of Nothing. I am not entirely sure what to think about this one, because I have read the other two books in the series, obviously. I thought the first one was just okay, a huge mess, but really, really fun. And I liked the ending and kind of where the ending was going. I loved the second book, The Wicked King, because that has a lot of the kind of like political backstabbing and the scheming and all of that, which I love. And this didn't have that. But there were bits of it that I liked. I definitely enjoyed it more than the first book, which just felt like a huge freaking mess. It was a ridiculous mess. So this one felt more like cohesive, but the middle bit lagged for me a little, but there were still parts of it that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed this. It wasn't a big disappointment like Dark Dawn was. So it wasn't like, you know, I finished it and I'm really upset about how the series ended, because I'm not, but it wasn't great. I don't know how I'm going to rate this book. We'll get there eventually. And then I am also reading Dragon Slayer by Duncan M. Hamilton. As I showed you earlier in this vlog, I received a copy of the second book this week. So I started this. I'm on like page 22 because I keep reading it before bed and I keep falling asleep. So I might actually, I'm going to keep reading this, but I might actually break this up with something that's not fantasy, because I'm looking at my place where I stack my read books for the month, and I've read like 5 fantasy books in a row this month. This would be number 6. So I think I'm gonna read something else, maybe one of these 2 library books, maybe Wakenhurst, maybe an Agatha Christie book, which is on my TBR. I don't know, but I might take a little bit of a break from fantasy because this is a lot of fantasy. So I'm definitely gonna continue with this. I've never read any of his books before, so this is very exciting. And yeah, I will wrap this up tomorrow and let you know what I end up picking up next. But at this point, I have no idea. Hello, so it is Sunday evening at about 9:20 or so, and I am going to wrap up this vlog. It's getting quite long. I've actually been editing it just now and realized that I haven't wrapped it up. So I'm going to try to keep this short because it is a long vlog at the moment, which makes a lot of sense because I covered a lot of days over a week, about a week and a half. But this was an amazing week for reading. I'm really glad that I did this staycation thing. I feel like I've kind of recharged my batteries a little bit. I've never really done anything like this. We're just kind of taking a week off and staying at home. So hopefully I'm going to get to do this next year too, because this has been great. So I feel really, really good. I did a lot of really great reading, and I've done some reading since even just yesterday when I updated you last. So I'm going to go over everything that I read this week, DNF this week, and what I am currently reading now. So first things first, I read The Skyweaver by Kristen Cicerelli. This is the last book in the Ascari series. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought this was so much fun, much to my surprise, because I have mixed feelings on the previous books in the series. And then I read Realm of Ash by Tasha Suri, which I loved. I'm giving this 5 out of 5 stars. It's fantastic. absolutely amazing. Such a good book. So I was really happy about that. I also read Song of the Crimson Flower, the book that threw off my sleep schedule, also giving this 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed this, and I always love returning to this particular world. So highly recommended. In the UK, you'll be able to get this on the 1st of December. In the US, it's already out. And then I read Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. I don't know how I'm going to rate this at the moment. I did have some mixed feelings about it, but overall I did enjoy it. I had a really good time reading it. And it's absolutely batshit. This whole story is absolutely mad. So that was really good fun, and I thought this was a really fun way to round out my week. So I don't know what I'm going to rate this yet. I'm still pondering. And then I actually DNF'd 2 books. I DNF'd The Infinite Noise by Lauren Shippen. This was just a little bit too contemporary YA for me, which is not really a genre that I love. I was hoping it would be a little bit more sci-fi, a little bit more X-Men, but it's not. So if you like sci-fi but you also enjoy contemporary YA, I would definitely recommend giving this a try. It just wasn't necessarily my genre. And I actually had my record DNF today. I DNF'd this after 39 pages, because my friend Asha was reading it for NetGalley so that she could provide feedback and all of that. And we decided to read it together, and neither of us got particularly far. Unfortunately, this was Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan. I have never read a book in which there is war, mortal peril, gods, and blood magic that was so boring. I didn't care about a single character. We had no time to develop any kind of relationship with these characters before they were under attack and being like slaughtered and whatnot. It feels in a funny way, and I feel a little unfair saying this about a debut author, but I've read a lot of debuts where this is not the case. I don't really know, but the writing feels very juvenile in a way. It's very flat. The characters are not interesting. She keeps talking about how dark stuff is. Things are so dark. It's like so dark, you guys. And then also just the world building involves her just kind of throwing Russian sounding names at you. They could actually be Russian names. I don't know. I don't speak Russian. But it just didn't work for me on a multitude of levels, and my friend, who's an incredibly fast reader, made it about 55% in before she DNF'd it, and she was telling me some of the stuff that happens later on, and it just doesn't sound like my cup of tea. So unfortunately, this was one I was really looking forward to, but I have heard a lot of really, really bad things about it, and unfortunately I have to agree. So that brings me to the 2 books that I am currently reading, what I'm going to carry on into the next week. So the first one is Dragon Slayer by Duncan M. Hamilton. I'm reading this so that I can go ahead and pick up the next one, Knight of the Silver Circle, which you saw earlier in this vlog, and I'm enjoying it. I'm 22 pages in. I'm not very far, so I don't really have an opinion on this one yet, but it does sound really fun, so we'll see how this goes. And I am also reading The Whispers of War by Julia Kelly, also known as Author Sister. I did say that I was going to pick up something different to try to break up some of the fantasy, because I've read so much fantasy this week, and this was kind of exactly what I needed. So I'm about 35 or so pages into this, and I'm really, really enjoying it. It's World War II historical fiction. It follows the lives of 3 women, plus one of their granddaughters in kind of the modern day, after her grandmother has passed away, and she meets up with one of her grandmother's best friends, who we see in these kind of flashbacks. And it's wonderful so far, but I'm completely and totally biased to the point where Julia will not actually let me leave a review for her books. So I know I'm gonna love this one. I'm definitely gonna enjoy it. I really liked The Light Over London as well. Like, objectively enjoyed that book, not just because Julia wrote it. So I know that I am in very good hands with this one. I love historical fiction. I don't read it often enough because usually fantasy and sci-fi takes precedence over that in my head, but I'm very happy to be getting back to this genre. That is it for this reading vlog. It's a little hard to get back into the swing of things with vlogging when you stop for a while, but I am gonna try to vlog a little bit more, because I do actually really enjoy it, but having this week off was really helpful for vlogging because I had so much time during the day to do it. So fingers crossed you'll see more vlogs from me, but in the meantime, I would love to hear what you read this week. If you've read any of these books, if you've got anything particularly good on your TBR, definitely let me know. I post bookish content to this channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and hit subscribe, check back soon, and I will see you next time.